It's Saturday the 25th of July and I'm heading to the East Dunes again for a long run, and this will be my last long run before the Alza Marathon in 3 weeks time. I'll just taper down now. I'll still do some longish runs, there'll still be kind of 18-19k, but I'm not going to do any big ones like this one. So the plan is to do a walk run strategy, to try that out, see how that feels in my legs, if I can use that in the Alza, because there's a lot of climbing involved there. And the walk run, basically what I'll do is every 8 to 9 minutes or so I will slow down and just do a walk like I'm doing now for 1 minute, and then I'll get back up to running pace and see how that goes. Now the hope with this, or what the expectation is that it gives your muscles a bit more of a rest, or more importantly it kind of uses them in a different way, at least every kind of 8 or 9 minutes or so. So theory is you suffer less fatigue, and in fact can improve your time, although you're walking for part of it. That lack of that lesser muscle fatigue helps you. Now you see it's raining actually reasonably hard now this morning, so that should keep things cool, although it's quite muggy because the ambient temperature is still in the low 20s. So the route plan today is to head through the East Dunes and head up north to Katwijk, and to do a little loop there and come back. And if I do that, that'll be 16 kilometres up, 16 kilometres back, 32, which is 20 miles. So that's a kind of good long run as part of your training for a marathon. Okay, so let's see how this walk run strategy goes. See how my legs respond, good or bad. So I'm just over 10k in. This is take 2. I'm not sure if the last video worked. So I'm just over 10k in. I'm at Gans and Hook. It's almost at the 3rd way mark, and then I'll be in Slag, the entrance from Old Wassenaar into the beach, in about a kilometre. So pretty rainy. There's a lot of cyclists, quite a few cyclists about. They're all wrapped up today, but all seem to be in high spirits. I'm raising money again next month, so 16th of August the Alza Marathon is going to go ahead after having been cancelled back in April. I'm going to raise money again for the Cystic Fibrosis Trust, so I'll put details up about that later for the Just Giving page. And it's been reckoned that through this pandemic period, because there haven't been these big mass events where there's a lot of fundraising for charities, but just in the UK alone there's been a shortfall of at least £20 million. So it's quite good to feel as though I can give a little bit later in the year than I was expecting, first of all. So that's kilometre 12. I'm just north of Slag, coming into the Berkheide area of the dunes. You can see how extensive the dunes are here. As I've mentioned in previous videos, this is what protects the Dutch lowlands from the sea. So I'm just on my walk, my 1 minute walk for this kilometre. So I'm roughly doing a 7 to 1 So for every 6 minutes of running, I'm doing a minute of walking, taking it easy down the hill because my knees are getting a bit fragile when I roll forward onto them. So I'm alright going uphill and on the flats, it's just when the going gets a bit steeper. So the run walk seems to be okay, just the transition when it's always that problem if I walk for a while, it just takes me a moment to get back into it, but the minute seems about right. I think if I left it any longer, it would feel a lot more awkward trying to get back into the run phase. So far so good, just a little bit of loose sand to overcome, and I'm well on my way to Katwijk in about 4 kilometres. So I'm at 15 kilometres, so almost at the halfway point, so I'm now going to do a loop away from the main trail into the dunes. This is a bit looser. The rain's actually probably about the same, but what's happened is you might be able to hear now the wind's started driving in a bit more, so that's going to be mostly my face on the way back. So that'll be fun, so I hope that calms down a little bit. It's not always that pleasant to face into it. So far so good, so almost at Katwijk. You can just see it just over the horizon. It's just disappeared for the moment while I'm in these dunes. So as I said, I'm going to do the Hausa Marathon. A lot of climbing involved in that one. The Clarendon, which I did last year, was about 800 metres of climbing. The Hausa Dorset Marathon is going to be about 1,000 metres of climbing, so a lot more rigorous. I've been warned by Andy as well, there's almost a false finish. You get back to what you think is the finish and you've got another loop to go, so be wary of that. If you think you're super quick or something like that. Anyway, so almost at Katwijk, so I'm about to do this loop to turn myself round, head back the other way, and should take me about 2 hours if I carry on with this this walk run strategy. So there's the view across to the southern side of Katwijk. Over there further inland is Leiden, and 16k back, which I'll stop doing in a moment. It's back to The Hague through the East Dunes. So 18 kilometres in, on my way back from Katwijk. You can see the weather really has set in now. The wind's a little bit more driving and the rain's more intense as a result of that as well, so at least it's keeping me cool. Anyway, so yeah, so it looks like it should be okay for this one. The walk run so far seems to be working pretty well. I've kind of converted it because I needed a kind of reminder to do the walk, otherwise I kept going. So each kilometre I spend the first minute of the next kilometre walking, so that little alarm just reminds me to slow it down and start walking. I'm trying to find ways of transitioning. I do feel tweaks in my knees as I transition from run to walk and walk to run, so I just need to be a bit careful there so I don't strain anything. Other than that, everything's good. Despite the weather, it's actually really nice to run through these dunes. It's a lot more interesting, time goes a lot quicker, there's a lot more to see than running on roads. And of course I don't see any cars for the best part of 3 to 4 hours, which is really quite nice as well. Anyway, so a little bit longer to go, 2.25 hours in. Probably another hour and 3/4 hour and a half probably an hour and 3/4 before I get back. So I'm just about to hit the Mirandale turn. I'll carry straight on there, I'm not going down there today. I'm at 25 kilometres, about another 7 to go. This is the first dry spell, so in 3¼ hours it's the first time it's stopped raining. So I'm starting to dry off a bit. My running shoes are starting to feel a bit like flip-flops back there when the rain was really driving in. They were getting quite saturated and there wasn't really any opportunity for them to dry out as the squalls kept coming in. But it's a bit more sheltered here than further north as well, so even though the wind's against me, it doesn't feel quite as bad as it did. A little bit more shelter because I'm a little bit further into the dunes than I was there. I was running right by the coastal beach path. So anyway, so another 7 kilometres to go. So hopefully we can do that in about 50 minutes at this pace. It's quite slow, but I keep deliberately keeping it slow to check my endurance. And then we should be back. So that's the Mirandale turn. So just to climb up the hill here to the lookout, and that's the last main climb of this run. Not that there's that many big climbs, there's these little ones and slightly bigger dune climbs every now and again. So there we go, here we're on the home straight, so to speak. Okay, that's me done. Just over 32 kilometres, 20 miles in I think it's 4 hours 20 minutes or something. So that was my first try. Actually, I have tried before with a walk run, but I haven't kind of incorporated it into my training with any earnest. So I need to try that again. So it seemed to kind of keep a good pace. It's below 8 minutes a kilometre, which is good for me. So anyway, that's a good run. So another 3 weeks, fly back in just over 2 weeks back to the UK. Unfortunately that's to London, so I still need to get from London down to Hampshire. To say, hope to raise some money finally for cystic fibrosis. I did raise quite a bit when I did the Hague Marathon at the start of March before all the lockdowns happened. So thank you for everybody who contributed to that, and hopefully I can get a little bit more sponsorship for the marathon, which is going to be hard. That's a proper challenge, but I'm looking forward to it. And yeah, so we'll talk to you next time.